Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Jaya Gopijana Ballava Girivaradari Jaya Gopijana Ballava Girivaradari Jaya Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Ballava Girivaradari Jaya Gopijana Ballava Girivaradari Jaya Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnu Astu Tarasata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Tagore Pramanande Hari Hari Bol Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 3, Chapter number 9, titled Lord Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. Text number 1. Brahma Vacha Gyato Sime Ajya Suchira Nanudeha Bhajam Nagyayate Bhagavato Gatir Iti Avajyam Nanyat Tvad Asti Bhagavan Apitanna Suddham Maya Guna Vyatikarad Yadurud Vibhasi Brahma Vacha Gyato Sime Ajya Suchiran Nanudeha Bhajam Nagyayate Bhagavato Gatir Iti Avajyam Nanyat Tvad Asti Bhagavan Apitanna Suddham Maya Guna Vyatikarad Yadurur Vibhasi Brahma Vacha Gyato Sime Ajya Suchiran Nanudeha Bhajam Nagyayate Bhagavato Gatir Iti Avajyam Nanyat Tvad Asti Bhagavan Apitanna Suddham Maya Guna Vyatikara Jadurur Vibhasi. Word for word translation. Brahma Vacha, Lord Brahma said, Gyata, known, Asi, you are, by me, Ajya, today, Suchirat, after a long time, Nanu, but, Deha Bhajam, of one who has a material body, Na, not, Jnayate is known, Bhagavata, of the personality of Godhead, Gati, course, Iti, so it is, Avajyam, great offense, Na anyat, none beyond, Twat, you, Asti, there is, Bhagavan, O my Lord, Api, even though there is, Tat, anything that may be, Na, never, Suddham, absolute, Maya, mature energy, Guna Vyatikarat, because of the mixture of the modes of Yat, to which, Uru, transcendental, Vibhasi, you are. Translation. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki joy. Lord Brahma said, O my Lord, today, after many, many years of penance, I have come to know about you. Oh, how unfortunate the embodied living entities are, that they are unable to know your personality. My Lord, you are the only knowable object, because there is nothing supreme beyond you. If there is anything supposedly superior to you, it is not the Absolute. You exist as the Supreme by exhibiting the creative energy of matter. Purport. The highest peak of the ignorance of the living entities who are conditioned by material bodies is that they are unaware of the supreme cause of the cosmic manifestation. Different people have different theories regarding the supreme cause, but none of them are genuine. The only supreme cause is Vishnu, and the intervening impediment is the illusory energy of the Lord. The Lord has employed His wonderful material energy in manifesting many, many wonderful distractions in the material world. And the conditioned souls, illusioned by the same energy, are thus unable to know the supreme cause. The most stalwart scientists and philosophers therefore cannot be accepted as wonderful. They only appear wonderful because they are instruments in the hand of the illusory energy of the Lord. Under illusion, the general mass of people deny the existence of the Supreme Lord and accept the foolish products of illusory energy as supreme. One can know the Supreme Cause, the Personality of Godhead, by the causeless mercy of the Lord, which is bestowed upon the Lord's pure devotees like Brahma and those in his disciplic succession. By acts of penance only, Lord Brahma was able to see the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and by realization only could he understand the Lord as he is. Brahma was extremely satisfied upon observing the magnificent beauty and opulence of the Lord, and he admitted that nothing can be comparable to him. Only by penance can one appreciate the beauty and opulence of the Lord, and when one is acquainted with that beauty and opulence, he is no longer attracted by any other. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2.59, Param Dristva Nivartate. Foolish human beings who do not endeavor to investigate the supreme beauty and opulence of the Lord are here condemned by Brahma. It is imperative that every human being try for such knowledge, and if anyone does not do so, his life is spoiled. Anything that is beautiful and opulent in the material sense is enjoyed by those living entities who are like crows. Crows always engage in picking at rejected garbage, whereas the white ducks do not mix with the crows. Rather, they take pleasure in transparent lakes with lotus flowers surrounded by beautiful orchards. Both crows and ducks are undoubtedly birds by birth, but they are not of the same feather. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksul Manitam Yena Tasmei Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam class. So we're starting a new chapter today from the third canto. So the new chapter is chapter 9, titled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. So as the title itself suggests, this whole chapter will see a long list of beautiful verses where Lord Brahma is praying to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So in the previous chapter we saw the birth of Lord Brahma from the navel or Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, a lotus flower sprouted up, and Brahma who was born on top. And at the beginning, at the start, Brahma didn't know where he came from, who he is, what he's supposed to do. He didn't know anything. But he noticed that he's situated somewhere at the top high, and he's seeing that he's on a lotus flower, he's seeing the stem going downwards, so he tries to follow the stem downwards, but he can't find the end. Then he comes back to the top, he does tapasya, and we saw how after 100 years of tapasya, then finally Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he revealed himself to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma got a very beautiful darshan of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So at the end of the previous chapter, we saw a beautiful series of verses describing the beautiful darshan of the Lord that Lord Brahma got. So a lot of beautiful verses are given describing the transcendental beauty of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Now in this chapter, chapter 9, now we'll hear after Lord Brahma, he gets this wonderful vision or darshan of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, how Brahma will offer beautiful heartfelt prayers onto the lotus feet of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So text 1, it immediately starts with Brahma's prayer. So this is the first prayer that Lord Brahma, he offers at the lotus feet of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So I'll read the translation again. Brahma said, "O my Lord, today after many, many years of penance, I have come to know about you. Oh, how unfortunate the embodied living entities are that they are unable to know your personality. My Lord, you are the only knowable object because there is nothing supreme beyond you. If there is anything supposedly superior to you, it is not the Absolute. You exist as the Supreme by exhibiting the creative energy of matter. So in today's verse, the first prayer that Lord Brahma he offers to Vishnu, he is basically saying three things. Firstly, Lord Brahma is saying that how was I able to attain this darshan of your lotus feet? I was able to attain this darshan only after doing many, many years of penance. Only then was this wonderful darshan of yours revealed to me. Second thing he's saying is he is feeling pity or compassion upon other living entities who, being unfortunate, are unable to understand or know about Krishna or understand or know about the glories of Vishnu. So he's taking pity upon them. Oh, how unfortunate are those embodied living entities who are unable to know your personality. And the third thing he's mentioning in today's verse, Lord Brahma, in today's prayer, is that Krishna or Garbhodaksha Vishnu, you are the only knowable object. There is nothing superior to you, you are the absolute truth. There is no knowable object greater than you. If one knows you, that's it, he knows everything. So in this way he glorifies Garbhodaksha Vishnu, that you are the only knowable object, and although it might seem that something might seem to be superior to you, but that's just the symptom of the illusory energy. So because of the illusory energy of the Lord, which covers over the vision of living entities, they concoct or they hallucinate that there's something superior to you. But actually that's not the case. So in the purport, Prabhupada will discuss these three things. So number one, Brahma is saying that how was I able to get this darshan of you? Only after doing penances for many, many years was I able to get this darshan. Secondly, he's feeling compassion upon those conditioned souls who, because of their unfortunate position, they're unable to realize Krishna, unable to know about Krishna or Vishnu. And thirdly, he's saying that you are the supreme noble object. If there is something which seems superior to you, then it's just because that particular living entity is covered over by the illusory energy of the Lord. So there's 3 paragraphs in the purport, and Prabhupada will discuss on these 3 different points that Brahma is mentioning in the prayer. So we'll just go through the purport line by line. It's a very nice purport. So firstly, Prabhupada is saying in the purport that the highest peak of the ignorance of the living entities who are conditioned by material bodies is that they are unaware of the supreme cause of the cosmic manifestation. Different people have different theories regarding the supreme cause, but none of them are genuine. So as we know, there's one beautiful prayer by Prahlad Maharaj where he's talking about the same thing, about Nate vidu swatagatim hi Vishnu durasaye bahir artamaniha. So in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that the highest peak of ignorance, so in the ladder of ignorance, there's many different stages. But right at the top, Prabhupada is saying the highest peak of ignorance is what? The highest peak of ignorance is that the living entities, they don't know what is the cause of them, what is the cause of this universe, what is the cause of everything around them. And instead of understanding or realizing Krishna as the cause of all causes, they dub the cause to something material. And that's what Prahlad Maharaj, he tells to his father, he's saying this beautiful verse to his father, Hiranyakashipu, that nate vidu swata gatim Vishnu, that people in general, they don't know that their swata gatim, that their supreme self-interest in life is actually Vishnu, is actually to take shelter of Vishnu. Instead, what do they think? Durasaye bahir arta manina. Bahir arta means, bahir means like ito, bahir nashima, hidayo nashima, bahir means outside. So they think that bahir arta, those things which are external, material objects which are external, they think that to be arta, they think that to be of real value. Forgetting you, not understanding you as the supreme valuable object, they give value or they give arta to all these external things in the material energy. Bhari arta manina. This is how they're bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord. So that's what Prabhupada is saying here in the Star Purport, that the highest peak of ignorance is people, instead of understanding Vishnu as the cause of everything, they dub sense gratification, material objects, externals as the purpose of life, as the cause of everything, and this way everyone is illusioned. I'll continue on. The only supreme cause is Vishnu, and the intervening impediment is the illusory energy of the Lord. The Lord has employed His wonderful mature energies in manifesting many, many wonderful distractions in the mature world, and the conditioned souls, illusioned by the same energy, are thus unable to know the supreme cause. So again, Prabhupada is further elaborating that although Vishnu is the cause of all causes, He is the source of everything, still, because people are covered over by the illusory energy of the Lord, they are unable to realize Him, they are unable to know about Him. And Prabhupada is saying that the Lord has employed His wonderful mature energy in manifesting many, many wonderful distractions in the mature world. So what are these wonderful distractions in the mature world by which Maya Devi or Durga Devi is distracting us from the lotus feet of Krishna? One interesting section in Bhagavatam I was reading recently of Nalakuvera Manigriva in the Damodar Leela pastime. In that section, Narad Muni, he gives a interesting perspective of what is that thing which is most distracting, or what is that thing which is most the cause of most entanglement in the mature world. So Narad Muni, he explains when he's seeing Nalakuvera Manigriva being intoxicated, although they have such a high birth of being the sons of Kuvera, they're just simply wasting the opportunity given to them, and they're just simply wasting in sense gratification. So Narad Muni, feeling sorry for them, he curses them. But before that, he speaks one beautiful verse of realization. So this is none other than spoken than by Narad Muni, who is Shaktavesh, avatar of the Lord, empowered with Bhakti Shakti to make anyone and everyone into devotee. And Narad Muni, he explains that in this mature world, people have, good birth or good parentage, a lot of money, Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, and Shribir. And as Mother Kunti explains in first canto, these four things, they bind one more to this mature world. They cause a certain type of intoxication, certain kind of pride and false ego, and this way they bewilder the minds and intelligence of the conditioned souls. And Narad Muni explains that out of these four things, the thing that is most binding is wealth or money. And Narad Muni explains that if someone has money, then that money will intoxicate him so much that he'll go on to do all other sinful activities. So as we know, there's four forbidden activities which break the four pillars of Dharma, or the four legs of the Dharma bull, which is illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. And Prabhupada and also Narad Muni, they explain that if someone has money, then as a natural byproduct of that, being intoxicated by that money, being overcome by the immense wealth he has, that wealth that he has will lead him to do all four of these sinful activities. If someone has money, then they can open slaughterhouses, they can buy meat and kill animals, go hunting, and out of pride of having so much wealth, they'll go and kill animals. Then there is illicit sex. So if someone has a lot of money, then naturally they'll use that to engage in illicit sex. Then again, gambling. To gamble, you need money. So if someone has a lot of wealth, then they'll again go through that path of sinful activity. And then naturally intoxication. Taking drugs, intoxication, all these different things, they require a lot of money. If someone has a lot of money, then again, they'll go down through that path. So in this way, Narad Muni explains that of all different distractions or bewildering things that might be in this material world, the thing that is the cause of all other downfall is this one aspect of money. And this is what is intoxicating these two personalities, Nalakuvera and Manigriva, because of their immense amount of wealth, due to being the sons of Kuvera. Due to that, they're doing all these sinful activities. People, Narad Muni explained, people in general, they go to the Ganga to do religious activities to purify themselves of all sins. But these two young boys, they are so much intoxicated by their wealth. Instead of coming to the Ganga to purify themselves, they're coming to the Ganga to engage in more sinful activities. They're intoxicated in the Ganga, plus they're bathing naked with other young ladies. So in this way, Narad Muni, he, through his beautiful words of realization, is explaining that the thing that is most distracting, or the cause of all other distractions, the thing that leads to all other sinful activities, is the accumulation of a lot of wealth. So that doesn't mean that, okay, as devotees we should completely shun away wealth, but we can overcome this downfall of wealth, or these implications of wealth, by utilizing whatever money we have in Krishna's service. Otherwise, as Narad Muni explains, that wealth is the most powerful source of distraction of Durga Devi, of Maya Devi, and if someone gets a lot of wealth, that wealth will immediately push him or inspire him or propel him to commit all the other types of sinful activities. The wealth will push him towards illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, intoxication. I'll continue with the purport. The most stalwart scientists and philosophers, therefore, cannot be accepted as wonderful. They only appear wonderful because they are instruments in the hands of the illusory energy of the Lord. Under illusion, the general mass of people deny the existence of the Supreme Lord and accept the foolish products of illusory energy as supreme. So lastly, in this paragraph, Prabhupada is explaining that in general, people in society being overcome by illusion, they look up to scientists and philosophers. And you can further on to celebrities, sports stars, and so on and so forth. And they accept whatever they're saying as the supreme truth. So people, they look up to scientists and they believe their words that, okay, matter is the cause of everything came from the Big Bang or this and that. And people, they look up to philosophers, celebrities, and so on and so forth. But Prabhupada is explaining, actually these so-called scientists, philosophers, they're actually all just instruments in the hands of the illusory energy. And one shouldn't look up to them because they're under illusion. If you also follow them, then you'll also go into illusion. Again, as Prahlad Maharaj says, Nate vidu swatagatami Vishnu durasaye bahirata manina anda yatander upayena manas tepi satantam uridamni baddha. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying that, again, as we're explaining, that people in general, they don't know Vishnu as the supreme cause of everything, as our supreme self-interest. Bari artha manina, they think that these external things, this is of real value importance. And andha yatande upayena, just like a blind leads other blind men, and they both fall into a ditch, or they both fall off a cliff and die, or cause harm to themselves. In the same way, this is the unfortunate situation of the mature society at the moment. One blind man is leading another blind man. So these scientists, philosophers, celebrities, they're all blind, they don't know the supreme purpose of life, they don't know who they are, what they're doing. But they're portraying themselves as, as role models, as leaders of society, and this way they're leading other blind people in society. And because these so-called leaders are blind, all those blind people they're leading, all of them, they'll all go towards the ditch or off the cliff, to the hellish planets. And in the, I was reading recently in Krishna book, in the autumn season, a beautiful analogy is given in this regard. So Sukadeva Goswami explains that during the rainy season in Vrindavan, what will happen is all the clouds, they will completely cover over the sky, and there will be immense rainfall. And because the sky is completely covered with clouds, one can't see the beautiful effulgence or the illumination of the stars and the moon. The moon and the stars are the actual object of illumination, the actual object of beautiful light at night time. But during the rainy season in Vrindavan, what happens? The clouds completely cover the illumination of the moon and the stars. So one is unable to get the light of the moon and the stars. And then at this time, during the rainy season, the light which is emanated from the glowworms, they become very prominent. Actually, the glowworms, the light that the glowworms give is so insignificant in comparison to the light that the moon and the stars give. But during the rainy season, because the clouds are covering over the light of the moon and the stars, these glowworms, they become very prominent, and people are very much dazzled by the light being given off by the glowworms. Although the glowworm is completely insignificant in comparison to the moon and the stars. In the same way, Sukadeva Goswami explains that in Kali Yuga, what will happen is Maya's covering potency will become so strong, just like the clouds are completely covering over the effulgence of the stars and the moon. Similarly, in Kali Yuga, the covering of Maya or Durga Devi will become so strong that all those saintly persons, sages, great devotees of the Lord, who are actually supposed to be worshipped, who are actually supposed to be the leaders of society, who are actually supposed to be the role models of society, Maya or Durga Devi will cover their importance and cover people's eyes so they can't see them as actually persons of value, actually persons that we should follow and look up to. And at this time, when the effulgence or the illumination of the great devotees, saintly personalities is covered in Kali Yuga, what will happen? Just like the glowworms, they become very prominent when the moon and the stars are covered. So in the same way in Kali Yuga, the illumination of the devotees will be covered, and at this time, these glowworm-like non-devotees, like scientists, Prabhupada is saying philosophers, celebrities, singers, movie stars, sports stars, all these personalities who are like glowworms in comparison to the moon-like devotees of the Lord, star-like devotees of the Lord, they will take prominence and they will become very famous, and everyone in society will consider these scientists, will consider these celebrities, sports stars as role models of their life, and everyone will follow in their footsteps. So in this way, Sukadeva Goswami, he very nicely explains the situation of Kali Yuga. Although one is supposed to get illumination, one is supposed to follow in the footsteps of the moon and the star-like devotees still, because the cloud-like covering of Maya is there during Kali Yuga, people are unable to see the importance and the value of devotees, and instead they give importance to these glowworm-like scientists, philosophers, and celebrities. But Sukadeva Goswami explains, even during the rainy season, although it's the symptom of the rainy season, that the clouds completely cover over the sky. But sometimes what happens, even during the rainy season, there's a little opening. Sometimes during the rainy season, it will be raining full on, but sometimes for a short period of time, the rain will stop and the clouds will disperse a little bit. And at that short, brief moment of time, when the clouds disperse, stop raining, then through the dispersion of the clouds, some sunlight will come through during the rainy season. So in the same way, Sukadeva Goswami explains, although it's the symptom of Kali Yuga, that everything will be covered over, the devotees, the importance of the devotees will be covered over, and these glowworm-like scientists and celebrities will take prominence. Still, just like during the rainy season, there's a little opening where sunlight comes through. So even in this Kali Yuga, there will be a little opening, at which time devotees, they will also start taking the prominence over these celebrities and scientists and non-devotees. And that we can compare to the golden age which is going on now, started by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates 500 years ago. And Prabhupada explains this golden age will go for 10,000 years. So 500 years is gone, so another 9,500 years. This little small window is there in the sky. So just like during the rainy season, it will be full on raining, sky will be completely covered, but a short period of time, by chance, it will stop raining and the clouds will disperse, there will be some light coming through. So even though Kali Yuga goes for 432,000 years, it's given in the Shastra that in these 432,000 years, there's this little opening or this window when everyone can take to Krishna consciousness very easily and go back home, back to Godhead. Not only go back home, back to Godhead, but go to the topmost planet in the spiritual, to Goloka Vrindavan, and engage in beautiful, wonderful, loving pastimes with Sri Sri Radha Gopinath. So in this way, Sukadeva Goswami gives a very wonderful analogy in relation to this in the Krishna book. I'll continue on with the purport. So that's the first part of the purport where Prabhupada is talking about how Brahma was saying that you are the supreme noble object. If anything appears to be greater than you, then that's just because they're covered over by the illusory energy. So how people are covered over by the illusory energy, Prabhupada explained in the first paragraph purport. So now we'll go to the second paragraph purport. In the second paragraph, Prabhupada is talking about how to see Krishna, to realize Krishna, to experience Krishna, one needs to do tapasya. So that Prabhupada will explain in the second paragraph. One can know the supreme cause, the personal and Godhead, by the causeless mercy of the Lord, which is bestowed upon the Lord's pure devotees like Brahma and those in his disciplic succession. By acts of penance only was Lord Brahma able to see Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and by realization only could he understand the Lord as he is. Brahma was extremely satisfied upon observing the magnificent beauty and opulence of the Lord, and he admitted that nothing can be comparable to him. Only by penance can one appreciate the beauty and the opulence of the Lord. And when one is acquainted with that beauty and opulence, he is no longer attracted by any other. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2.59, Param Dristva Nivartate. So again, Prabhupada is further elaborating that the only way we can know Krishna is by his causeless mercy. And what can we do to attract Krishna's causeless mercy? What can we do to inspire Krishna to reveal himself to us? That Prabhupada is explaining, that from Brahma's own life we can learn that only by engaging in penance, under the instruction of the spiritual master, coming through disciplic succession, can we attract the mercy of Krishna, and then Krishna will be revealed to us. So then, what is the penance for us? For Brahma, he was meditating on one of the Gayatri mantras, and we see different devotees in Bhagavatam doing different penances, like the Ashtanga Yoga meditation, sitting in meditation. We see Dhruva Maharaj standing on one, doing stopping his breath and doing so many severe austerities. So what is the penance for us? Do we also have to do this? No. It's given in Kali Yuga. The process of penance is Sankirtan. By doing the Harinam Sankirtan, we are worshipping the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Gaur Nitai, the Panchatattva, and this is the penance of this day and age. In one time, Prabhupada, he was explaining to his devotees, he was talking about this principle of tapasya, how in the previous ages, you have to do so many thousands and thousands of years of severe austerity, fasting, just living on from the life air, and doing so many severe austerities in the forest for thousands of years. And Prabhupada is explaining to the devotees that don't worry, we don't have to do this. And Prabhupada, to make the point more clear, he explained that just like these great sages like Valmiki Rishi, they did tapasya for 60,000 years. And Prabhupada told the devotees, if you just simply do 6 days of Sankirtan, if for 6 days you just go out into the streets of, whichever city you're living in, 6 days you go out, you do Harinam Sankirtan, 6 days you go out and you distribute books, then those 6 days of Sankirtan equals the benefit which previously people got by doing 60,000 years of tapasya. So in this way, Prabhupada was, inspiring the devotees to do Sankirtan. In this way, Prabhupada is, further illuminating this fact of how easy Shri Gaur Nitai has made, bhakti or devotional service. Previously, as Prabhupada explained, one had to do austerities and tapasya for so many thousands and thousands of years. But now, Prabhupada is saying, the benefit that one previously got, like the benefit that sages like Valmiki Rishi, they got by doing 60,000 years of tapasya, you can get just by doing 6 days of book distribution, just by doing 6 days of Harinam Sankirtan. You just go out on the streets of Sydney, do 6 days of Harinam Sankirtan, 6 days of book distribution, and that immediately equals, Prabhupada says, of 60,000 years of severe tapasya in the previous ages. So this is how merciful Sri Gaur Nitai are, that they've made the process of spiritualization so easy and also blissful. As Lochan Das Thakur, he explains, Parama Karuna, Pahudui Jana, Nitai Gaurachan, Sarva Avatara, E Shiramani, Kevala Ananda Kanda. One time in Atlanta, Prabhupada was giving a lecture, and at the start of the lecture, Prabhupada was saying, it's funny, when you read the transcript of the lecture, and Prabhupada will start off like this. So today is a very special day. We have 2 very special Prabhus with us. And when you read that, we have 2 very special Prabhus with us, you'll think Prabhupada is talking about some senior sannyasi disciples of him. Okay, maybe Tamal Krishna Maharaj is present, or Brahmananda Prabhu, or Kirtananda Swami, some great senior sannyasis are present in Atlanta with the other devotees along with Prabhupada. So Prabhupada is saying that, okay, today is a very special day, we have these 2 special Prabhus with us. But when Prabhupada is saying today is a very special day and we have these 2 very special Prabhu with us, Prabhupada is referring to Sri Gaur Nitai. So I think at that time they had recently installed Sri Gaur Nitai on the altar. So Prabhupada, he starts off the lecture by saying like this, being so personal with the deities. Prabhupada is not just seeing them, as just, Prabhupada is actually seeing them as Sri Gaur Nitai. The Gaur Nitai are actually personally there on the altar standing, waiting to receive, bestow upon us benedictions. So Prabhupada, he starts off the lecture like this. So today is a very special day, very special occasions, because amongst us we have two very special Prabhus, Shri Gaur Nitai. And then Prabhupada, he quotes this first verse of this beautiful bhajan by Lochan Das Thakur, that Parama Karuna Pahu Dui Jana, that these two Prabhus, they're Parama Karuna, they're the most merciful, they're the most compassionate, they're the most magnanimous. And that's it. Just when Prabhupada starts a lecture by saying this, that these two Prabhus are Parama Karuna, that's it. Prabhupada, he goes into ecstasy and Prabhupada can't continue. And it's explained that just for, it seemed like eternity, there's just like a moment of silence. Prabhupada is in deep ecstasy. And it's explained that tears were flowing from Prabhupada's eyes. The disciples of Prabhupada explains that tears were coming out of Prabhupada's eyes like water coming out of a syringe. So you have a syringe and you spray water, with that force the water comes out. That's how forcefully water was coming out through Prabhupada's eyes when Prabhupada was talking about the mercy of Gaur Nitai. Parama Karuna Pahu Dui Jana. So in this way Prabhupada, he went into ecstasy thinking about the immense mercy of Shri Shri Gaur Nitai. What is the mercy? Compassion they're giving us. Lochan Das Goswami explains that these two brothers, these two Prabhus, they're the crest jewel of all other incarnations. And why so? Because Kevala Ananda Kanda, that they've introduced a process of self-realization which is simply so blissful and fun to perform and so easy. Previously, the process used to be so hard. One has to go to the forest, give up everything, ties with society, family, and just go solo into the forest, all by himself. One has to sit and do such severe austerities. But the process which Gaur Nitai have introduced is so blissful. Kevala Ananda Kanda. The process is of singing, dancing, and feasting. And not only is this process so blissful, but it's so simple and easy to perform. We don't need so much intelligence, physical stamina, or so on and so forth. Anyone and everyone, regardless of their, mental condition, physical condition, their age, their background, regardless of what body anyone has, what background people are coming, anyone and everyone can chant, anyone and everyone can sing, anyone and everyone can dance, and anyone and everyone can eat and enjoy prasadam. So this is the immense magnanimous mercy of Shri Shri Gaur Nitai. So Prabhupada, thinking about this, this amazing mercy of Shri Shri Gaur Nitai, Prabhupada, he just goes into ecstasy in this famous lecture in Atlanta. So this is the penance of this day and age. The penance of previous ages was to do tapasya in the forest for thousands of years. But Prabhupada says you just do 6 days of Sankirtan, 6 days of chanting, dancing, spreading Krishna consciousness and feasting, and that's automatically equals 60,000 years of tapasya in the previous ages. And if we do these penances, Prabhupada's explaining, then we can appreciate the beauty and the opulence of the Lord. So Krishna's beauty, His opulence, the glories of His holy name, His pastimes, it's not something we can, through our own might, intelligence, our own austerities we can attain. No, it has to be gifted to us. Krishna consciousness is not something we can attain. It has to be gifted or bestowed upon us by the causeless mercy of the Lord. And in one purport in CC, Prabhupada explains that Krishna reveals Himself to us, or the realization one gets in Krishna consciousness is dependent on one's humility. The more we can exemplify this quality of humility, Prabhupada explains, to that proportion, to that degree, Krishna consciousness will be revealed to us. To that degree, we'll get spiritual realizations in our Krishna consciousness. Another place, Prabhupada also says, similar thing. Another place in CC, Prabhupada explains that to the degree we are submissive, to the degree we exemplify this quality of submissiveness, to that degree, Krishna consciousness will be revealed to us. To that degree, we will advance in spiritual life. Submissiveness means we follow what the instructions of Krishna is in Bhagavad Gita, what the instructions of Srimad Bhagavatam is, what the instruction of the sadhus are, and what the instructions of our spiritual masters are. The more we are submissive to the instructions of Krishna and Krishna's devotees, Prabhupada explains in CC, to that degree we'll advance in spiritual life. To that degree we will get spiritual realization. Krishna will reveal Himself to us. So this is our penance. Our penance isn't giving up everything and going to some forest in New South Wales doing tapasya. Our penance is in strictly following the instructions of our spiritual masters. Our penance is in exemplifying humility. Our penance is in practicing humility, practicing submissiveness to following the instructions of our spiritual masters, and in engaging in Sankirtan. So this is our austerity. If we follow these things nicely, then we'll, to that proportion, we'll advance in spiritual life. To that proportion, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath will reveal themselves to us, reveal their pastimes, their glories, their beauty. As we advance, Radha Gopinath will get more and more beauty. As we advance, the holy name will become more and more sweet, more and more nectarian to us. As we advance, the Bhagavatam will get more and more nectarian and relishable when we read. So all these things will be revealed, all these things will become more and more relishable and revealed to us as we become more submissive, as we become more humble in following the instructions of our spiritual master. So that's the second part of the purport where Prabhupada is explaining. To get darshan of the Lord, to realize the Lord, one needs to engage in penance. Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam sudaya yasmat, as Lord Rishabhdev also explains. So now in the last part of the purport, Prabhupada will explain about how there's two types of persons. There's the crows and the white ducks. And although they're both birds, they delight in two different things. So I'll read the last part of the purport. Foolish human beings who do not endeavor to investigate the supreme beauty and the opulence of the Lord are here condemned by Brahma. It is imperative that every human being try for such knowledge, and if anyone does not do so, his life is spoiled. Anything that is beautiful and opulent in the material sense is enjoyed by those living entities who are like crows. Crows always engage in picking at rejected garbage, whereas the white ducks do not mix with the crows. Rather, they take pleasure in transparent lakes with lotus flowers, surrounded by beautiful orchards. Both crows and ducks are undoubtedly birds by birth, but they are not of the same feather. So Prabhupada, in the last part of the purport, is saying there's two types of living entities. There's the crows and there's the white ducks. The crows are the non-devotees. They relish in enjoying rejected garbage, whereas the white ducks, they take pleasure in the transparent lakes with lotus flowers surrounded by beautiful orchards. So they take pleasure in taking darshan of the Lord, as we were discussing in the previous chapter, the wonderful beauty of the Lord, so nicely explained in CC, how Krishna's transcendental beauty, Krishna's transcendental form is like a whole society or a whole civilization of moons. And in this whole society of moons, there's the king of the society of moons. The king of the society of the moons is Krishna's lotus face. And the ministers of the king, the very personal, confidential ministers of the king of the society of the moons, are the two eyes, two moon-like eyes of Krishna. And these two moon-like eyes of Krishna, they do all confidential tasks or chores for Krishna. For example, it's given, we were discussing, through Krishna's moon-like eyes, he shoots arrows into the hearts of his devotees and wins them over. And these arrows, they're situated on the bow-like eyebrows of Krishna. And these bow-like eyebrows of Krishna, they're tied to the string which is attached to the Krishna's ears. So it's given Krishna's eyes and eyebrows, they're very large and beautiful. And just like lotus petals, they go all the way up to his ears. And through his eyes, he shoots arrows by which he is able to win over the hearts of his devotees. And through his eyes, who is confidential ministers, he is able to do many other wonderful things, just like in Kalya Leela, when the cowherd boys and the cows, they faint or they give up their lives by drinking the poison, then Krishna, just by glancing upon the cowherd boys, he revives them. And then we saw how Krishna has other beautiful, in the society of moons, the other moons in Krishna's transcendental body are the 10 moon-like fingernails. And these fingernails of Krishna, moon-like fingernails, they play a beautiful music. And the music of Krishna's fingernails is the music that is coming out of Krishna's flute. Then there's beautiful Krishna's 10 moon-like toenails. And the music of Krishna's beautiful toenails is the tingling or the dangling of Krishna's ankle bells. Then there's the beautiful moon-like cheeks of Krishna. There's another 2 moons, and the Krishna's forehead, that's half a moon, and the sandalwood on Krishna's forehead, that's the 23rd or 24th moon. So in this way we're discussing about the wonderful beauty of Krishna. So devotees, they're completely mesmerized by this beautiful, this description, this beautiful darshan of the Supreme Lord. And unlike material beauty, Krishna is always beautiful. Material beauty, for a certain period of time, the beautiful manifests, but again, as we know, the nature of time is that time slowly deteriorates the beauty and the potency of everything in this material world. But Krishna, his beauty is not like it. His beauty is eternal. And not only is Krishna's beauty eternal, and one would think that Krishna's beauty is, has reached a certain peak and it just stays there. No. Krishna's beauty gets more and more beautiful. Krishna eternally increases in beauty and becomes more and more beautiful. And Krishna is always beautiful, just like Prabhupada explains in 10th canto, that ordinarily when someone is born, and they're not, just when someone comes out of the womb, they don't look so beautiful. It's a very, not such a nice, pleasant scene. The face of the baby will be all red, the baby will be crying, and will be covered with all sorts of liquids, and it's a very, not such a nice, pleasant scene, and no one looks very beautiful when they're born. But Krishna, because he's absolute, at all times, place, and circumstances, is always looking beautiful. So even when Krishna is just when he's born, he's looking so beautiful and so effulgent. It's given that Krishna, right at the moment he was born, he also had beautiful blackish curly hair, and he was decorated with all sorts of jewelry and gems. So Prabhupada explains, which baby is born like this? Which baby comes out of the womb with beautiful blackish hair, curly hair? Which baby is born with so many wonderful jewelry? And Prabhupada explains, Bhagavatam explains, not only is Krishna beautiful, attractive to his devotees, but Krishna's beauty is so mesmerizing that even demons who come to kill Krishna, even they get completely mesmerized by Krishna's beauty. For example, Putana, the first demon that comes, when she's coming, she comes in disguise to feed Krishna her poisoned breast milk. And when she enters the inner chambers of Mother Yasoda's house, and when she sees Krishna for the first time, it's explained in Bhagavatam that she appreciates Krishna's wonderful beauty, and she notices that there's something different about this baby in comparison to all the other babies she's killed. Prabhupada explains that among demons, they have different specialties. Just like, in our ordinary dealings, different, like someone will specialize in different types of engineering. Even in a particular sort of engineering, like civil engineering, there will be someone who will specialize in water engineering, another will specialize in construction, another will specialize in structural design. Someone is doing medical science, then they'll specialize in the eyes, or someone will specialize in heart, or someone will specialize with the back. So even among demons, Prabhupada explains, they specialize in different departments. And what is Putana's specialty? Her specialty, Prabhupada explains in Krishna book, is in killing babies. So that's the particular specialty, a particular empowerment given to Putana, or that's her specialty in terms of her demoniac activities. So Prabhupada explains that she's being endowed with that specialty of killing babies. She had already killed many dozens and hundreds of innocent little children, innocent little babies already. So, but this time she comes, again it's just, for her it's just another baby to be killed. But when she comes into the room and she looks at Krishna, immediately she notices there's something different to this baby compared to the other babies I've seen before. And immediately she appreciates the wonderful beauty of Krishna. So in this way, Krishna, not only is he beautiful to his devotees, but he's also beautiful to even demons that comes as sense to kill Krishna, even they appreciate Krishna's wonderful beauty. Another example is of Kaliya. When Krishna, he notices, okay, this Kaliya, he's completely poisoned this lake on the offshoots of Yamuna. And Krishna, he climbs onto the top of a Kadamba tree, and then it's explained very nicely that Krishna first, he ties up his hair. So Krishna has very beautiful, long, curly hair, just like our Gopinath. So before he jumps in the water, he ties up his hair at the back. And then also he ties up his waist belt. Just like before someone is about to do some hard work or get into a good fight, they'll tie up their hair, tie up the belt and get ready for a good fight. So in the same way, Krishna, he ties up his belt, ties up his hair. And then just like a wrestler, he will do some sports player, before they get into the sports ring before they start boxing or before they start doing some sports or some activity. They'll do some stretches, move their things like this, do like some stretches, and then they get into it. So in the same way it's explained, just like a wrestler, Krishna was slapping his arms and getting ready for a good fight. Then Krishna, he jumps into the water. As Krishna jumps in the water, although he's just a small cowherd boy, it's explained that when he jumps in the water from Yamuna, from this lake of Yamuna, gets splashed for 100 bow lengths or 100 yards, Prabhupada explains. So that's how much impact Krishna created when he was jumping into the water. Although he's just a cowherd boy, still the whole universe is situated in Krishna's body, transcendental body. So when he's jumping in the water gets splashed or goes to the sides for 100 yards or 100 bow lengths. And as Krishna is diving into the water, and as Krishna is splashing around in the water, it's explained that as Krishna is splashing around in the water, beautiful musical sounds get produced by Krishna splashing in water. So again, we see the wonderful, artistic abilities of Krishna. In material world, we've seen so many swimmers. Which swimmer, when they're splashing in water, doing breaststroke or this stroke or that stroke, no matter whichever stroke they do, they can never swim in a way in which they're swimming, they're splashing in the water will create wonderful, beautiful musical sound vibrations. But Krishna, being the Supreme Personality of God, He's able to do this. As Krishna is swimming in the water, as Krishna is splashing around, moving His arms and His legs in the water, He is creating beautiful musical sounds in the water. And then Kalya, he hears this beautiful sound. And he immediately thinks, who is this, who has come into my water? Who is this splashing around? And immediately he comes to see who this is. And again, the same description is given, that Kalya, when he comes, and then immediately he appreciates. When he first sees Krishna, he immediately appreciates the wonderful transcendental beauty of Krishna. So in this way, Krishna's transcendental beauty is so great that not only do devotees, so amazingly relish Krishna's beauty, but even demons like Putana, Kalya, all these demons that comes to sense, when they come and they see Krishna, immediately momentarily they get a bit stunned by Krishna's beauty. That, wow, this person is really effulgent, this person is really beautiful, this person is really dressed nicely, but then they just throw it aside, and then they come and attack Krishna. And this is the subject matter which Prabhupada is explaining, that these white ducks, they relish in. So the white ducks, they take pleasure in the transparent lakes with lotus flowers, whereas the crows, they take pleasure in the mature beauty. As Prahlad Maharaj says, Bahir Arta Manina. That Bahir Arta, these external sense objects is what these crow-like living entities, they take pleasure in or relish in. There's one metaphor actually similar to this which comes up in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela. I think that's text 2, 1 or 2. In that verse, usually at the start of every chapter in CC, Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami, he'll put forward a very beautiful prayer glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So at the start of the second chapter of Adi Leela, Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami, he uses a similar analogy of white ducks in a transparent lake with lotus flowers. And in this prayer, Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami is saying that may the nectarian Ganges water of Lord Gauranga's pastimes flow and completely mitigate the thirst of my desert-like tongue. And